Welcome to Legion Radio, a podcast about all things e-commerce, the official podcast of the private label Legion, hosted by Tim Jordan.
Hey everybody, welcome to Legion Radio, the official podcast of the private label Legion. Tim Jordan here with David Rotheroe. I said that right, didn't I?
Dave, but yeah.
Okay, Dave. Oh, and I was so worried about the last name and I screwed up the first name. That's all right. So Dave Rotheroe, and we kind of met Dave through one of our business partners, Cassie Baskett. She met him at a ClickFunnels event, and she called me. She said, "Tim, this is such important information for our private label Legion audience because as we're all working to not be dependent on Amazon, and we're working to get our products away from just depending on that platform. This is information we have to know." So today, we're talking today, we're getting into that. He's got a really great story about how he got started in e-commerce, how he left his, 9-to-5 corporate job, you'd call it, and how he eventually figured out viral videos for social media for some rather odd products, I'll say. I'm kind of excited for you guys to hear about that. And the information that Dave's sharing with us can be used for a huge variety of products. I think it's massively and wildly important. Before we get started, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit us up at privatelabellegion.tv. Subscribe to that channel. Check us out on Facebook. We've got a Facebook group, Private Label Legion, if you want to follow that. Just free information, great information. Of course, you can check us out at hickory-flats.com as a business side of our the website of our business side. And then privatelabellegion.com, where you can check out things like our podcast, our free community, the networking and all that good stuff, live events that we do. Really awesome stuff to be following. So let's get into the show. So Dave, thank you for being here.
Tim, absolute pleasure. Great to be here.
So tell us briefly what you were doing pre-2015 and what led you to the big step to become an entrepreneur.
So just at the very beginning of 2015, I was on the brink of quitting my corporate job. Previously, I've been a rock musician touring all around Europe. So I kind of got into this corporate thing. And the whole time I was itching to get out and do something creative again. It was really kind of like being trapped, So eventually I was like, right, I've got to break out and start my own business. I've been tinkering around with things here and there, creating social channels and trying to link to affiliate stuff. And it wasn't really working. So I thought, right, I'm going to put a fire up my arse. I'm going to actually go for this. Jump out and actually make something happen. So I've been hankering this idea to send people a different bottle of hot sauce every single month. And it kind of so I started it. I did a Kickstarter and launched it. Started going around trying to get all my friends desperately. I'm sure a lot of people have been in this situation, desperately trying to get people to sign up to my Kickstarter. And it kind of got that off the ground. And then shortly afterwards, this guy got in touch with me. He'd actually been doing fulfillment for people who sold on Amazon and for people who had their own businesses. He'd been doing warehouse fulfillment for about 10 or 15 years. And he was a foodie as well. He wanted to do something similar. So we sat down over the course of a few weeks and started talking about what we do, what would really take off. And, the one thing which I've been struggling with up until that point was getting attention. So I struggled with what I thought I was struggling with was getting traffic. But in reality, as we all know, traffic exists all over the internet. My real problem was actually getting attention. So I started to think, what can I actually do to hijack people's attention? What are people already paying attention to? So we went and we started researching viral pages on the internet. We started looking at where our ideal audience, what they were looking at, where their attention already was. And what we found was melted cheese was huge in terms of food. Every single viral post involved melted cheese.
Now, time out. When you say melted cheese, you're talking about not melted cheese, but cheese that has been melted. So you're talking about standard cheeses that is melted at the time of consumption, right?
That's right, yeah. Okay. Melted at the point of being. So we're talking about like cheese pulls and like videos of pizza slices being pulled and grilled cheese being squished, this kind of thing. This is the most important thing is that it was the stuff that got shared, it was the stuff that got attention and got commented on, etc. And that's really what we were looking for.
So people are intrigued by melted cheese.
People love melted cheese. Like,
are there any other foods that you've seen that like just the pure action of the food drives people as wild as melted cheese in all your research, or is melted cheese like the top?
Melted cheese is number one for sure, because I think there's so many different applications, and also it can cover vegetarian and vegan. A close second is meat, so barbecue and meat, that's huge. That was our kind of second potential thing to start this business. But melted cheese, meat, desserts are pretty huge as well.
Okay, time out. I gotta pause you here. How did you determine that melted cheese is like the thing? So you're researching online, like there's got to be some sort of like data that you used or like some sort of shortcut, because I don't think that you can just like randomly look at a bunch of viral videos and just make this correlation. Hey, a lot of people are looking at melted cheese. So like tell me a little bit more like definitively how you made this connection with people love melted cheese.
Yeah, so we knew that our demographic that we were looking to sell to, who had a good amount of cash, were relatively sort of loose with their cash and wanted to buy experiential stuff. We knew that they were looking at places like BuzzFeed. There were quite a few as well, but I mean, it was like a relatively broad go out and get a general idea. There's no kind of cut and dry science to this. Basically, we looked at Twitter, we looked at Reddit. There's a whole subreddit called Grilled Cheese on Reddit, which is crazy. You should go check it out. It's unbelievable. Like people post with no like financial gain potential, just literally just post photos of their sandwiches every single day. It's both ridiculous and fantastic. That's Reddit for you, right? But basically, yeah, we went around and started looking at what was actually getting shared, just getting an idea of what people really engage with. And it's relatively easy to see as well. I mean, if you go to a page where your audience hangs out, or your demographic kind of hangs out, then you can see like which posts are getting the most likes, comments, shares, engagement. It's quite easy to see as you scroll through. You can use stuff like BuzzSumo, Social Blade. There's tools out there you can use to actually just really quickly rank what's got the most attention over the last X amount of time. So I mean, this whole concept is applicable to any niche as well. This isn't just food. It's literally works for anything. It's really the strategy behind it is understanding what drives conversation in the marketplace or within the niche that you are looking to get into, right? Or you're already in. So we looked at this, and then the other thing, again, which is applicable to any niche, is unusual combinations. So again, it's something that drives conversation, because if some people hate something, some people like something, they're both going to sit and kind of argue against each other as to who's right. And that's perfect for driving conversation in terms of advertising on social media, in terms of getting PR and press, etc. And then the third thing, of course, was subscription boxes, which is what we wanted to get into anyway. So this was huge at the time. It was 2015. It was just really starting to peak. Companies like Dollar Shave Club, who shortly afterwards exited for $1 billion. So we combined all three, and we ended up creating a grilled cheese sandwich subscription box. So we were mailing people grilled cheese through Royal Mail, which is the mail service over here in the UK, Royal Mail letterbox post. Within 48 hours, these things would be made, sent through the post, and arrive through the letterbox in the door. People would take them out. There'd be 2 slices of bread, a cheese, and 2 different condiments which would make up the kind of nuts flavors. I'm trying to think we got any cards anywhere. We had like 30 different unique flavors with trump cards, so people could kind of play them against each other, and they were kind of collectible to keep people engaged and kind of gamify it. And yeah, so we thought based on our kind of well-informed guess that this would get some attention, but what we didn't kind of really expect was the next day, after we'd announced the pre-launch campaign, like the pre-Kickstarter campaign, that we'd be featured in a national tabloid newspaper. And then within a few weeks, we were all over BuzzFeed, where we'd originally researched this from. So we were capturing our audience's attention there as well, actually at source. We were on global press, even in the States, even though we were just a UK-based company. So yeah, we kind of got that organic virality straight off the ground.
Wow, all because of grilled cheese.
All because of cheese.
All right. So I assume that went well for you. I assume you sold a lot of grilled cheese sandwiches. Is that subscription box still active? Are you still selling grilled cheese sandwiches?
No, so we did that for a long and convoluted about 2 or 3 years. But as I say, we did the whole thing. So we did production on site. We actually used to have it outsourced. I kind of was living down in Spain, south of Spain, and then our co-packer got liquidated. So we bought it all in-house. It was it's a long story, but it was very dramatic. We bought it all in-house, and it just kind of worked out in the end because it was such a complicated job because there were so many individual components that we closed it about a year or so ago. But it was off the back of that, and throughout that journey, that I kind of uncovered this, the principles of virality, really. Because when we got that first wave of press, that was kind of, right, okay, that's interesting, there's something here. So what happened then is we got this bell curve of virality. And this is basically what happens when you make anything go viral. It's like a bell curve. So you get this huge peak of attention, and then it drops off. And it's like, okay, right, so what do we do now?
Yeah, so you got a short lifespan of success.
Exactly. Yeah. When it's organic. So we got to about 6 months in, a year in, and we realized we had to do something about it. So around about the time, I've been following this guy called Frank Kern, who's a huge kind of one of the OGs of direct response marketing. And I kind of picked up this idea of running Facebook ads and how it could be profitable. If you put in $1 one end and got $2 out the other, if you could scale that, then it's basically like the closest thing to printed money, right? If you're doing it, on a business that works. So I started doing this, and again, we went back to the place where we were researching in the first place. So we went back to BuzzFeed and channels like this and started looking at what kind of video content was getting shared the most. And it turned out it was this, specifically for our use case, it was this top-down style video. You've probably seen these things on like BuzzFeed Tasty, where it's like a recipe video and it's filmed top-down, and you kind of see the process of it being made. So we took this and we replicated it for our product. So we showed the process, and this is really important in terms of creating viral videos. We showed the process of the package arriving in the post, being opened, being demonstrated, and being constructed from start to finish. So we demonstrated the customer's experience, and this is, again, like I kind of want to stress, this is one of the most important things about viral videos, especially for e-com right now, is demonstrating the experience of the customer from start to finish, because that's kind of the first step in them understanding what your product is and how it fits into their life.
Yeah, because my experience is most products people don't need. Most of the products that we're selling are not essential. We're not selling toilet paper and baby powder and, like staple food. And what we have to do is we have to make this emotional connection between our clients and our products, basically through that experience. And what I've noticed is, especially, with Amazon sales, there's not a great way to show an experience, because we're kind of stuck in this box of bullet points and descriptions and, 7 listing photos and maybe a little video. But when we can take that that product and attach the experience to it, then, of course, our sales go up. I think our perceived value, so our price point can go up. Everything starts getting better. So I love that. That's one thing that, some of our more successful products, we noticed it was about experience, whether it was, we did a write-up of experience in the insert card or, video or whatever. So I'm glad to hear that we're not completely off the wrong track. And my suspicion is you can kind of ham up an experience for some pretty crappy products, right? Like you can kind of make a experience, sale that might not be all that great, but you can sell it.
Yeah, well, that's it, because it's really interesting what you kind of highlight there. The difference between the nature of Amazon, where it's people search for a specific thing and it comes up, and it's a very kind of features and benefits style way of advertising, or at least marketing your products, right? Because it's literally people just see what they want. Does this fulfill my requirements? Yes, bang, sold. Whereas with discovery style advertising like Facebook and YouTube, then you have this opportunity. You're meeting people in the kind of state of mind that they're in when they're scrolling through Facebook and YouTube, which is one where they want to be told stories, they want to be given context. And B, you kind of have this massive advantage that you can actually demonstrate the worth of their products. And as you say, I mean, if you're that way inclined, or you can ham up products which wouldn't necessarily perform as well if you do give it the context of the experience. But I think what it boils down to in advertising is you're always proposing to solve somebody's problem or fulfill their desire, right? So if you can demonstrate that, if you can actually give them context as to how that works in their life, if they can start to see it in their own life, then that's like the first step towards them actually buying your product, right? So it gives them some kind of context, and it gives you that massive advantage, and potentially opens you up to a huge, like a much larger audience that you wouldn't even necessarily be able to access on Amazon that don't sort of buy in that way.
All right, so let's go super basic for a second. I know that we can build funnels. We can, set up Shopify stores that are experiential. We can do subscription boxes. We can do all this stuff. But let's go back to just the basic Amazon private label seller that has a product and wants to take it to the next step. My suspicion is that the easiest thing to do is set up some sort of quick video that highlights the experience of the product. And we can, even if we don't have a landing page, I know we want all that stuff, but let's just go super basic. We could hypothetically set up some sort of Facebook video talking about the experience or showing the experience of that product and just pushing them straight to our Amazon listing. All right. So let's use that scenario. And of course, Amazon loves that outside traffic coming in. So what is like the first step in taking a product that you're selling existing and saying, all right, I want to create a video. I know that, we need to highlight the experience, but we also want to have in the background, like, hey, it would be great if this thing went viral, right? Because just a regular video, we're having to pump traffic or pump ads and, push traffic to it. But if it goes viral, that happens by itself. So tell me kind of briefly what you think the first steps are in deciding what type of, how to put a video together. And then on the back end of that, let's talk about some of what you said earlier, principles of virality to kind of add into this video, hoping that it will also go viral by itself.
Definitely, yeah. So the first thing to really consider is what's the most compelling thing about that product and how can you demonstrate that in your customer's life? Because obviously the first and foremost rule of virality is people don't share stuff that's boring. So you need to find a remarkable edge about it, and there will be a remarkable edge. And once you figure that out and how that relates to your customer, then you demonstrate it to them. So that's kind of the very broad 1,000-foot view of how you actually, the strategy you should be using for a viral video. When it comes down to the mechanics, then you need to, in terms of the actual second-by-second layout of the video, then first of all, the first few seconds need to capture their attention because we're running on Facebook. Then we need to capture people's attention in those few seconds that they scroll past. You've got about 3 to 5 seconds. If people aren't interested, they're going to carry on scrolling. The same on YouTube, as everyone knows, you've got about 5 seconds before the skip button appears on a YouTube video. So if you're not capturing people's attention, they're going to skip. They're going to carry on watching what they were watching before. So from a purely tactical point of view, then you need to find the most compelling elements about your video or about your product and front load it. Give people a little teaser, like a teaser trailer of the first few seconds. That'll capture their attention. And then you need to show them the actual context of the product, specifically for e-com. Give them the context of the product, show them it in action, show them it in a remarkable circumstance, doing something, the kind of vary so much from product to product, but the broad rules are push the boundaries with what your product's capable of. Show people how it's like ridiculously useful or ridiculously effective. And really in terms of actually getting into the minds of how stuff goes viral. If you think about virality at a very, very basic level, people get scared by this idea of like going viral and they think that they need some kind of blue or black dress or a cat meme or something daft happening in the video. But in reality, all virality is your content being shared by at least one other person every single time it's shared. So it creates this chain that it keeps going. As soon as it drops below 1, then that's when it tails off. The more people you can get it shared to, so if one person shares it to at least 2 more people, then it spreads exponentially, right? So to drag that down to a very, very basic level, you're trying to access the conversations between people. So why would this content, what is it that would make somebody share to their friend and say, hey, check this out? Because all you're really trying to do, and the reason virality happens and happens so fast online is because we've got access to all of our friends immediately. So what is it so remarkable about your product, about your video, about the way you actually portray your product that's going to get people to share? It could be something funny. It could be something ridiculous. It could be something emotional. It could be something awe-inspiring. Again, it depends on the product, but there's lots of different kind of key points that you can hit on, which are conversation-worthy, remarkably conversational-worthy.
Got it. Awesome. So what is one of the easiest ways to actually make a video? Because I know that, for a beginner, someone that doesn't have contacts in the industry, someone that doesn't have tools and resources, I have a product that's selling well on Amazon. I want to create a video. What is the best way to do that? Do I hire somebody or outsource somebody to actually, kind of write the script of the video? And then I find someone to come in and shoot it for me and then someone to edit for me? Or can I shoot a bunch of clips on my cell phone and send it to somebody on Upwork or Fiverr and put this video together? Well, it's kind of like the first tactical step of, okay, I buy into the process of I need a video, now what?
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, it's understanding that, and you're the best person to do that. The more you try and offhand any of that kind of working out what's going to make your customer tick, etc., the more that you try and offhand, the more money you'll end up paying, right? So if you can really get under the hood of exactly what's going to make people tick, then, believe it or not, regards to actually creating content specifically for e-com products, the stuff that performs a lot better is the stuff which has been shot on people's phones, on just like an iPhone or an Android, and there's lots of different kind of reasons and ideas to why this is, but broadly, people are more used to seeing content which is being shot on a phone, on Facebook, on Instagram, right? Because it's what their friends post. Also, they put their guard up less because as soon as they see polished footage, they kind of subconsciously think, well, I'm being sold to, right? Because somebody's taken enough time and money to actually shoot this video professionally. They've got to have a financial incentive involved, right? It's kind of like the example I always use is think back to the last time you saw like a fast food advert for Wendy's, McDonald's, KFC, anything. Like how regularly does the actual final product resemble what you saw on the poster? So people have come to kind of not trust what they see as a kind of polished video. So whether they know it or not, they just don't, right? So regards to actually getting it shot, then homemade footage with your iPhone is perfectly good. Regards to actually getting it chopped together, it's actually really easy to do yourself. Yeah, you can outsource it on Fiverr. You find the right person, you give them the right brief, the right kind of layout, etc. But it's really easy to do yourself. I mean, there's loads of online video editing softwares that you can use. There's stuff like iMovie, which is free on Mac. Sure, there's the equivalent on PC. There's lots and lots of different ways of doing it. There's ways for different budgets as well, so you can do it from extreme basic with your iPhone and nothing else, and free software online, to sort of higher end stuff. And even if you need complimentary stock footage, you can find free stock footage online. I use a service called Video Blocks, which is like all you can eat video, which for my kind of other niches is really useful, because when you're creating emotional videos, you can literally create an entire video in an afternoon, all with stock footage, and it looks like it was all professionally shot. So there's loads and loads of different ways depending on your use case, but it doesn't need to be expensive, it doesn't need to be time consuming.
Gosh, so it's probably easier than we think it is.
Definitely.
Yeah, I suspect we overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
All right. What is the best medium for getting a video's traffic to be efficient and effective and potentially go viral? I assume Facebook. Is that kind of number one?
Yeah, absolutely. So Facebook is perfect for this, because in terms of Facebook ads, people don't like spending money on ads, right? Because it feels like an expense. But in reality, when you get it right, it's an investment, and it's the best investment you'll ever make. Because essentially what the way Facebook ads work best is to amplify the results that you're already getting, right? So people get really scared and lose a lot of money when they go onto Facebook and they create an ad, what I refer to as a billboard ad, which basically says, hey, here's my stuff, come and buy it. Whereas if you create content which people like to consume, like to engage with, etc., and that does well, then it's not like buying magazine space where you pay a fixed price for a certain couple of inches on a page. With Facebook ads, if your content performs better, then you'll get more reach. Facebook and Instagram reward you with more reach, so your costs will come down. Your cost per click, your cost per acquisition, all of your costs will come down if you've got content which gets engaged with. What's the perfect way to create content that gets engaged with? Make it viral. Use the principles of virality. It's how these social media platforms were created. It was what they were created for, was for this kind of content that people engage with. So once you've got that, then you kind of sing it, and then you can use the same content across YouTube as well. YouTube's remarkably cheap at the moment for media buying. So yeah, but Facebook's my go-to.
Gotcha. And then I know that if you want an extra bump in some virality, you feel like you've got enough inventory, you've got a good product, you're getting good conversion rate. You can actually seek out some of these like viral service providers like BuzzFeed and guys like this, right? So what do? You submit your photo to them and then they take a cut of your sales? How does that work?
So all of my, so I've been featured with the grilled cheese thing and with the hot sauce thing as well, by channels like BuzzFeed, Guerrilla Creations, lots of big viral pages. And every time we got that in the past, it was just because they were so interested in our product. So these pages, they have a kind of quota to fill of sponsored content, which you'll actually pay them a fee to actually to feature your products, and you work that out with them, however that kind of works out. But they also they've got to post a certain amount of times a day. They need content. They're looking for content all the time. And if your product's remarkable enough, or if your edge on it is your kind of take on it is remarkable enough, then they'll take that from you. And there's reaching out to them and telling them about your product, getting them excited, sending them samples is a really surefire way to do that. They'll either ask you for stems, like for raw footage, and they'll cut it together yourself, or you can send them footage pre-shot together, and it's kind of like regular PR. People are looking for stories, people are looking for stuff to write about all the time. Like in fact, also interestingly, it's kind of like Facebook. Like if you create billboard ads where it's not that remarkable, it's not that exciting, then you're going to pay more and more and more to actually get it going, to get any kind of reach. It's the same with PR as well. If your thing's not remarkable, yeah, you can pay your way in. You can actually pay to be featured in their publication, but it's really expensive, right? Whereas if you get something which is interesting enough, remarkable enough, then they could potentially bring that deal, make that deal a lot sweeter for you, or even feature you for free, like happened to us on a number of occasions.
Because most of their money is brought by, clickbait traffic on their websites and their pages. So they have to have good content to get people on their pages. So if you have something good enough, then essentially they're asking, from you instead of you asking from them. So that's huge. All right, cool. What else? Anything else we need to know about, the principles of virality? I know that we have to talk about emotion. We have to have something that doesn't seem spammy, so kind of keep it simple. Make people feel like it's more of an authentic video. What else? Anything else? Any other high level highlights you can share with us?
Yeah, so it needs to be authentic, really. I mean, the main thing is authenticity and creating. So everyone talks about emotion and advertising, right? And the people act emotionally and then justify later. So they buy a $20,000 whatever television or something, and then emotionally because they want the television, and then they spend about 3 weeks afterwards justifying it logically, right?
Yeah.
So it's completely true, and everybody does it. I do it. Everyone does it. But the reality about emotion is that there's a certain thing you're trying to achieve with that emotion, right? Which is to evoke what we call physiological arousal. So physiological arousal is this thing that you will have experienced at some point in your life, and many points in your life, in fact. So maybe when you get off a treadmill and you go and talk to somebody, you're in a state of physiological arousal. So you likely talk to them about stuff that you wouldn't normally. You'd express, maybe share stuff that you wouldn't otherwise. Also, a great example, which I always use, back when I was touring with that band I mentioned earlier, we were down in the south of France touring, and we were driving from one festival to another, and we very, very narrowly avoided what would have been a life-changing or life-ending road traffic accident. And immediately afterwards, myself and my lead singer, Billy, we sat in that car, drove off, realized what had happened, and laughed hysterically for like an hour for no reason whatsoever. And nothing was funny, right? But it was this same thing. It's physiological arousal. And the important thing is when you do this, when you manage to achieve this by doing something awe-inspiring, exciting, something share-worthy, they all kind of tie in together. But when you do this, you make people do stuff that they wouldn't ordinarily do. So, a big thing that we have to contend with, especially as e-com sellers, or any kind of selling online, is actually getting people off their arse to actually get the wallet out and actually make, even if they want something, people are inherently lazy. Again, this isn't like I'm exactly like this too. We're all like this, right? Everyone puts stuff off, and it's like, what can you do to get those people who are actually interested to buy, to actually get the credit card out and buy, right? So creating physiological arousal, not only, it kind of kills two birds with one stone. It not only makes your content more shareable, but it also makes people more likely to actually make that purchase because you evoked that kind of that unusual state, which will make them do stuff out of their kind of their regular routine.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right. Before we wrap it up, any other last little tips? Maybe some encouragement to convince folks with products that this isn't that hard. Like this isn't some pie in the sky thing that putting together a video that elicits an emotion, getting a little bit of it going on Facebook and maybe going viral probably isn't as hard as most people think it is. Is that probably an accurate statement?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the best advice is just to get going. And also, one which I'm trying to drive home to everyone at the moment, which is just to have fun. Like, I mean, we as business owners get into this to hopefully to have fun, right? Rather than sitting behind a desk. And it can be so much fun if you get it right. If you kind of get over your own way and start to enjoy the process, like there's a reason that you got into doing whatever you're doing, whatever you're selling, hopefully excites you enough that there's a reason that you're selling it. And if you can invoke that same excitement in other people, through video, through your marketing, and help people get as excited with you and align yourself with them, then that's really all you need to do. In terms of creating content, software companies make it easier for us every single day. It's painfully easy now. You can use free online software. You can use software which comes with your laptop. You can use software on your phone. You can knock together a viral video with your phone quite easily. It's just a case of actually having the kind of the inspiration to get moving forward, the idea of what's going to inspire people to get as excited about your products as you are, and just trying it really.
Got it. Well, great information. And I know, Dave, you've got a digital course that you sell that actually walks people step by step through creating these viral videos, correct?
That's right, yeah.
So where can people find out that information, more information about that course?
Yeah, so if you go to freeviraltraining.com, then you can see a video about that and how you can get involved.
Gotcha. And we'll put that in the show notes, freeviraltraining.com. And this is pretty much your full-time thing now is helping people to create these videos that go viral. Is that right?
Definitely, yeah. So I work with a few high-level clients, and I'm constantly developing new frameworks. So e-com is obviously where I cut my teeth, and that's where my heart is really, it's where I started out. But, I work with lots of different clients across lots of different niches. This isn't just a novelty thing. Like, these principles apply to anything. I work with people in debt, with people in finance, with people in martial arts, with all sorts of different niches. And it works every single time. So I'm constantly pushing the boundaries, figuring out how we apply these same principles to exciting content, to grow people's business, bring their costs right down, and their engagement and marketplace goodwill into the stratosphere.
Awesome. Sounds great. Well, thank you so much for being on here and sharing this with us. I know that, here on the podcast, of course, a lot of us are Amazon sellers. That's kind of the bulk of our audience, but we really, really push the concept of getting off of Amazon eventually, or at least not depending on Amazon 100%. And I think that, dollars to donuts, one of the best ways, of course, to do that is to get your product to go viral. And I think that that it's something that is not talked about enough. And I think that it is something that's actually fairly easy to do, fairly attainable for folks to get involved with. So this information you've shared today has been excellent. We appreciate that. And again, go to, what'd you say the website was?
So it's freeviraltraining.com.
Freeviraltraining.com. Find Dave on Facebook or something. I'm sure he's got a page or a group or something out there. You can get some information. So thank you all for listening to another episode. We love you. We appreciate you. We appreciate you getting involved with us on social media and Facebook, Private Label Legion group, Private Label Legion page, and our YouTube channel, and all that good stuff. So again, Dave, thank you for being here. Thank you, listeners, for sticking with us for another 30 minutes, and hope that we brought some value to you. And let us know what you think. If you're watching this on YouTube, drop a comment in the comment section. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Google Play or Podbean or one of those, shoot us a message on Facebook and let us know what you thought about this episode. And fire us any messages if you have other ideas for episodes or content that you'd like to hear. And we appreciate it, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
You've just wrapped up another episode of Legion Radio, hosted by Tim Jordan. Past episodes, links, and show notes can be found at privatelabellegion.com.